Welcome to Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, back again with another episode. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about how people in prison become so antisocial and non-trusting. This is a common problem amongst people in prison, especially people that have been in here for 5 years or better. You know, it gets worse as time goes on. A lot of times the people in prison are not even aware of what's happening to them and what they could even do about it. So I'm going to be talking about that, shed a little light on that, and also tell you, my listeners, the people out there that may have loved ones that are going through this, what they can do to help them. It's a simple fix, but I think it's just something that a lot of people may not even be aware of, not even the people that are suffering from it, right? So I hope you enjoy this episode. If you do, like I say, always comment in the comment section on YouTube. I enjoy hearing about what it is that you have to say, and share it on your social media. Let people know, what I'm saying. Help me spread this message around, y'all. Help me spread this message around. Help me spread, get my audience bigger, y'all. I appreciate all the support and love that I'm getting out there, and it's really hard to put into words that, the appreciation that I feel for all of you, right? So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show, right? I was having a conversation with a friend of mine that's in here. We've come to know each other well, and I think that you've come to know him as well, those that are regular listeners out there. My friend Udon, he's got a couple of episodes on the podcast. And for those new listeners, I would ask that you go back and listen to some of those episodes, a couple of episodes that me and Udon did. Just look up just put in there searching for Udon, a juvenile offender, and you should be able to find those episodes. They're very enlightening. That brother came into the system when he was a juvenile, a kid, and he's been here, over 20 years now, and hope to be going home in, I think it's less than 8 or 9 years. But this brother is a very insightful brother, and me and him were talking the other day, and he was reminding me of a situation. Actually, Udon was in the conversation with another brother that we're cool with, and he was commenting on, this phenomenon of what we call in here tap dancing that leads to us becoming antisocial in answering the question of this other brother that we were talking to, right? So as we conversated about it, I started to realize that, all of us have been through this, and it's something that if you're not paying attention, you will find yourself pulling away from people, and that's what happens in prison. So here's what happened. We were coming off the rec yard one day, and there was officers lined up on the sidewalk, which is always the case, because when we come out from any area, we're going back to the housing area, we get patted down, along the way. And there were some officers that were at the end of this gauntlet that they were just trying to be nice, and fist bump different guys that they knew, asking about their day and stuff like that as we were passing by. Hey, how you doing? How's your day? That kind of thing, right? And this one particular brother, he didn't fist bump. And there was another brother that was behind him and said, "Bro, what you doing? Why you do that?" He said, "Man, I'm just not feeling it today." And he was like, "What do you mean you're not feeling it today?" He was like, "Man, I just don't feel like tap dancing today. I don't feel like playing the game today." So later on, like I say, me, him, and Udon, we got together and we were having this conversation about that incident. And he was like, "Man, I'm just tired of playing the game that they want to play every day. It wears you out." And he said, "And today I just didn't feel like playing." And basically what he means is this. Officers have a job to do. They come shake us down, they pat us down, basically responsible for the security of the institution, right? And a lot of times, the treatment that we receive is not the best of treatment, okay? A lot of times we have officers that are very, very disrespectful towards us in different ways. And it might be because they're having a bad day. It might be because they don't like people in prison. Whatever the reason is, right? It's this emotional roller coaster that we have to deal with coming from them And we don't get the opportunity to really express how we feel. You know, if they come in a good mood, then we have to smile and laugh and joke. If they come in a bad mood, we have to take that. You know, we don't ever get to say, man, look, enough. You know what I'm saying? It's emotionally draining dealing with somebody else's emotions and how they feel, and you're not able to express yourself in a way that is relieving. Finding a way to let that out without being penalized for it. Because if we were to say, man, I don't want to rap with you today, this and that, or I'm not feeling it today, or not laugh at a joke, we don't know if that officer is going to retaliate against us. And it happens, y'all. It happens a lot more than people would want to admit. And that is the issue that he was talking about. That's what he was facing. You know, one day an officer will be treating us nice, cordial, like a human being. And the next day we're the scum of the earth. They talk about us. They tell us we ain't nothing. In our faces. They don't have to worry about hiding it. They don't have to do any of that. However they feel about us, they can express that in our faces, and we can't say or do anything about that. And it becomes emotionally draining when you have an officer that treats you like crap Monday, and then Tuesday, you know what I'm saying, he wants to fist bump you. And if you don't fist bump him, then that officer may hold that against you and come at you later on. And that's hard to deal with. You don't know what to do. And this day, my friend, he just said, I just don't feel like playing. And he walked past him. So the brother that was behind him that's really, really cool with him, he asked him, said, man, why did you do that? He said, man, dude might be tripping on you later on. And the brother that didn't fist bump, he said, man, I don't care. I just don't feel like playing the game today. And his friend that was speaking to him, he wasn't trying to get him to do anything to compromise himself. He was trying to look out for him. And that is why I say a lot of us don't even realize that we are being sucked into this wormhole of emotionally suppressing how we feel. So our response to that, our answer to that, is to pull away from everybody. We find ourselves spending a lot more time isolated from everybody because we have to deal with all of these different emotional highs and lows from the people that work at these facilities, not to mention the people that are housed in these facilities, and it becomes emotionally draining. So you end up, like I say, isolating yourself from everybody, not trusting people because you don't know if they're being genuine when they say, how is your day? How's your family doing? You don't know if they're being genuine because the next day, like I say, they can treat you like crap and tell you that you're the scum of the earth and tell you that you don't ever deserve to get out. It messes with your mind. You go up and down, up and down. So you find yourself spending a lot of time in your cell, or you find yourself sitting by yourself a lot when you can get away from everybody, you know? You find yourself isolating from everybody. You find yourself not trusting what people say. And over time, you forget that you are just doing it for this particular incident or towards this particular person, and it becomes how you act towards everybody. Everybody. And it starts to bleed over into your relationships with your family members and those people that you love when you talk to them. You're questioning everything that they're doing. You don't know if they're being genuine. It's not that you want to be like it, but after you wear this mask for so long, it's hard to take it off. You forget that you got a mask on. And you go about your day in the same way that you go about your day in here treating people around here. You go about your day when you go to visit, treating your family members like it, treating the people that you care about like it. You find yourself in this emotional state of stagnation, no growth. And it's to protect yourself at the beginning, but in the long run, it starts to hurt you. And imagine, I've been in prison 30 plus, right? And I have had to do this almost every single day of my incarceration. And when I was talking to these brothers the other day, I got to thinking about it. I'm like, dang, I do that too. There are some days when I just don't want to be bothered. I don't want to be around anybody. They haven't done anything to set me off. It's just that I don't feel like doing it today. And I didn't realize that I had been, I don't even know if it's, I'm going to say conditioned. I had been conditioned against my will to act like this. And when I go to visit, it takes a minute for me to relax and enjoy my family. When I talk to somebody on the phone, the first few seconds are awkward because it's like my brain is switching. These are people that love you, you can trust them. But as soon as I hang the phone up, that switch turns back and it's like, okay, I'm in non-trust mode again. Isolate, protect yourself mode. And it becomes emotionally draining to the point to where your brain, I think, almost clicks off and it becomes like on automatic pilot for you where you don't have to remember to put the mask on. The mask stays on. And you go about your day acting and treating people in a way that is distant. You never really get to bond with anybody. And this particular day, like I said, this guy, he wasn't feeling it. And he went on to tell me this other story to bolster his point. He was at visit one day, and one of the people that work at the prison, a very high-ranking person that works at the prison, was walking through the visitation gallery. And he was stopping at everybody's table. And keep in mind, this person doesn't treat a lot of people here in the nicest way. Let's say that, right? But I've never had any problems out of him. He appeared to me to be a cool dude, so on and so forth, right? But this person has a reputation of being wishy-washy, let's say that. So he's walking through the VG, speaking to people's families and saying this. And this particular guy that I'm talking about in the story, he was like, his father was there. His father was there, and he was telling his father, look, I hope that this guy doesn't come to this table. And I said, why did you say that, man? He said, because I didn't want to deal with the phoniness. I didn't want him to come over here and shake my hand and shake my father's hand and then say, if anything I can do for you, let me know, so on and so forth. I didn't want to deal with that. And I'm like, dang. He said, I didn't want to deal with that because I knew as soon as I go back behind the fence, he was going to be treating me foul. And he said, but in front of my family, he was going to treat me like I'm somebody, like I'm a human being. And I was like, wow, I get it. And that happens to all of us in some way, shape, or form in here. And it wears us out. And it does something to our psyche. But people out there, you people that are listening, you have no clue the emotional roller coaster that we have to ride in here just to make it. And that is another reason I wanted to do this show. I wanted to say to people out there, a lot of times the stories that you hear that people use to try to deter you from doing something to come to prison, out of violent stories about prison and the things that could happen to you as far as the assaults, the rapes, missing the family, and those types of things. Well, let's add this to the list. This is one of those emotional things that will turn you into somebody that you're not. This is one of those things that will make you almost unrecognizable to your family. It will put you in a position where you have to start to fake feeling good or fake being happy in front of your family, not knowing why you're doing it, because if you're not aware or in tune with what tap dancing is, you won't even understand why you're acting like it. You'll chalk it up to, I'm having a bad day, or, what do I have to be happy about? I'm in prison. No. It's because of the the constant ups and downs in the emotional aspect of being treated like somebody one day, treated like crap the next, by the same people over and over and over, and you don't have a way to release that. You don't have a way to get that out. You know what I'm saying? And that locks you in, and it changes you from the inside out. It changes you from the inside out. And that is so vital to your psyche when you get out, who you're going to be, how you're going to interact with people. That is so vital to your psyche that it causes a lot of people to believe that being in here is better than being out there because you can function. And that's nonsense. That is nonsense. You start to think that this environment is better than that environment. Now, again, you may not even be aware of that, but you start to think about and talk about the things, well, when I was in prison, this and that. You didn't do this. You don't do this right here because this is disrespect in prison. This means this or that in prison. No, once you get out, you have to find a way to figure out if the stuff that was going on in prison is crazy. I'm telling y'all, the stuff that goes on here will make you believe that everybody out there is crazy and you're right about the way you conduct your life in here. Because you had to conduct yourself like this in here for so long that it became your normal. And then you take that to the street. The psychological roller coaster that you're on in here turns you into somebody that you're not. And when you go to the streets or when you interact with people that are in here that haven't been in here, the people that work here, that don't mean you ill will, you look at them like something is wrong with them. And most of the times you may not even be aware that you've been conditioned in that way. And another thing it does to you, I'm going to tell you another thing it does to you. It stifles your voice. You learn certain things to say and certain things not to say. You learn that the people that are mistreating you, it's an abusive relationship, actually. You learn that if I say this, I'm going to get in trouble. If I say this, I can gain favor. You learn to manipulate people just to survive. And that is so sickening to me because a person shouldn't come to a place like this prison, and go out of here worse than they came in. But see, this is one of those ways that you do become worse psychologically. And if you become worse psychologically, it'll manifest in your behavior. Y'all don't hear me. Let me say that again. If you become worse psychologically, it'll manifest in your behavior. And you'll find yourself doing all kinds of nonsense. You'll be on the streets doing things that you were doing here in prison and thinking you're doing right. It's all the way backwards. But let me get to what you can do if you're a family member or if you're suffering from something like this. Let me get to that, okay? This is what you can do. This thing, it's an easy fix for it. Once you become aware and acknowledge it, you have to become aware of what it is and acknowledge what it is. And don't be ashamed of it because it happens. Everybody that has come through the prison system has tap danced at one time or another. If they say that they haven't, they're either not aware of it or they're lying. Ask somebody in your family that you love that has been in prison. When you were in prison, did you ever laugh at somebody's jokes that wasn't funny because you were afraid of what might happen if you didn't? Whether it be somebody in blue or gray. And when I say blue or gray for my new listeners, when I talk about somebody in blue, I mean somebody's locked up. When I say somebody in gray, it means people that work at the facility, okay? So ask your loved one if they laughed at somebody's joke, whether it was blue or gray, because they might be afraid of the retaliation that might come behind it, right? Ask them, have they ever encountered an officer or a staff person at a prison that treated them nice one day and then the next day they treated them in a foul way and it made them feel some type of way. And they started to adjust their behavior to suit that person. Ask them, have they ever been through something like that? And I bet you money that they have. And what they're going to realize if they think about that, what they're going to realize is that they have been tap dancing. They can call it something else, but I call it tap dancing. You know what I'm saying? Dancing to the tune of somebody else's music to suit them so that you can survive the experience, the immediate experience at first, and then long term. Because it becomes a pattern. They do this stuff, and that is what abusers do. They treat you nice one day. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all can testify to this. They treat you nice one day, and then the next day they treat you bad, and then they'll make you believe that it's your fault, so you start to adjust your behavior to suit them. And that's what happens in here. You don't know what to do. So you start to do what? Stay away from everybody. You start not trusting people, right? You start to learn how to manipulate situations. The fix to that is this, y'all. One, like I say, acknowledge, become aware of it and acknowledge that it happened first, okay? And the second thing, and the most important thing, give yourself some time. And if you have a loved one that's doing that, give them time. Because what's going to happen is as they're in a different environment, around different people that are genuine with them, that are not lying to them, that are not manipulating them, that care about them in a real, genuine way, they have to readjust to the people that they left. They have to readjust to those new relationships, create new memories for themselves, create new experiences for themselves, and then they'll be just fine. I'm telling you, if they just give themselves some time. That's one of the problems with people that get out of prison or jail. They don't give themselves enough time to reacclimate, to readjust. And they end up back in here wondering what happened. Just encourage them, look, it's going to be better tomorrow. And then the next day you tell them again, it's going to be better the next day. And before long, it will be. Okay? I'm not going to drag this out. Just wanted y'all to know that. Because this is real. Tap dancing is real, y'all. I hope that you have learned something from this show. I hope that if you do have a loved one that is suffering from this, you'll let them listen to this episode. I really appreciate you. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.